Today is about the subversion process. The man that put this list together was brilliant. His name is Tomas Schuman, Tomasschuman. I want to make sure he gets the big shout out for that today.
Life is a funny old broad. She keeps you guessing.
Well, hey everybody, let me show you this list, this fancy chart he put together, very neatly done. You know, the title, the Subversion Process, is succinct, is exactly what happens. There is a process for subversion. I would also say that a lot of this probably also connects to the gaslighting of a spouse or employees or friends or whatever it is, so-called friends, because you're subverting them, tearing them down. I'm going to tell you how he organizes this. He organizes it by area and the method and the result. So the area is here, and it comes down to the first one is ideas, and there's 4 under that. Structure, there's 5 under that. Life, there's 5 under that. And that is all the part of the methods. Then he discusses the power struggle, because after you use these different methods, the stabilization, destabilization continues, and he gives how long it takes for that to happen. So the first method, the first section are the areas, and it's demoralization. That's the purpose of all these things. Ideas, structure, life, all they attack on that is demoralization. You know, there's an old joke. Let me see if I can remember it real quick. Satan had a yard sale. I know that. He had all kinds of things for sale. All the vices, everything like that. And everything sold pretty quick. But there was one thing sitting back on his porch, and people kept saying, "Is that for sale? Is that for sale?" And he would say, "No." And why not? He said, "Because that's my most valuable asset." And that was demoralization. Demoralization weakens foundations. Once a foundation is weakened, then you can destabilize it. You can't destabilize that which is strong, or you can't do it near as easily. So Satan's not stupid at all. But Satan, you know, he's got his he wants to be God so bad. He never will be. He never will be. And the heck of it is that not only does he know he won't be God, he's mad that he won't be God. So instead of just saying, "You know what, I'm going to kill myself," no, he goes out and he wants to kill everybody who does believe in God, who does give God the glory. And he wants to make their lives miserable, and thus the demoralization process. So let's talk about the ideas. Ideas come from religion, education, media, and culture. Now, those can be misused. We know this. While I may mention the Catholic Church in this particular area as part of religion, I will tell you that child abuse and other misuses of power are not only in that religion. But we do have quite a bit systemized within the Catholic Church, and I think the new Pope is supposed to be working on that or something. Let's hope. But religion has been politicized, it's been commercialized, and it's also been used for entertainment. And people entertain themselves in different ways. Thus, the misuse of the abuse of children and of the power that they have. Um, the result is that they want people not to want to live. They want them to want to die. Now, they may not, the people doing this may not connect all that up. But that's what Satan wants. Satan is a death cult. He wants everybody dead. He wants them to be painful and misused and abused. He is a death cult. The next thing is the education system. The goal, the result is they want people to be ignorant, not stupid. Stupid is bone deep. You're either born smart or you're born stupid. And we all know this. It may not be PC to say that, but stupid is bone deep, and there's nothing you can do about it. But ignorance is just not having the information you need to be able to make a decision. So how is the education system run? It's run in such a way as to teach lies, to be very permissive. You see, everybody gets a blue ribbon because they showed up. Nobody has to try. You're smart. And you know what is really ticking me off about this is, and it could go under the education, but it can also go under, let's say it'll go under culture. Black girl magic. That somehow, because you're a black girl, you have a magic that allows you to do all these things. That is a lie. Color does not have any magic in it. It's just a fact. You're born with various shades of melatonin, some darker than others, some lighter than others. It itself holds no power. So these people who are going around going, oh, black girl magic, and all these little black girls who are told you have black girl magic. And yet when they go to try to do things, they're bumping up against their limitations when they've been told they don't have any limitations. Everybody has limitations. Everybody. Every single person in this world has limitations. God himself even gives himself limitations. He holds himself back. But because they're trying to reach a false, they've got heroes who don't offer anything good for their lives. They've got role models that are modeling nothing of substance. They think that being able to dress up in all the bling and the drip and whatever they call it these days, and their eyelashes are sticking out this far, and they wear their wigs and they look hot with all their makeup on. They take it all off. What's left? Where's their personality? Where's their heart? Where's their courage? Where's their moral stance? And that makes them easy to be taken advantage of. And there's the media. Well, they monopolize, manipulate, and discredit everything that doesn't agree with the Marxist narrative, which is a satanic thing. And people, if they're ignorant, you see, that is lacking information and don't know that there's a place to get the accurate information, they believe what this legacy media, all that stuff tells them without looking any further. He calls this, the result of that is uninformed myopia. Uninformed myopia. So the ideas that produce demoralization, religion, education, media, and culture, which does not mean that everything in all of those categories is bad. That's not what it means. It just means these are things that can be used as weapons, result in having a death wish, staying ignorant, having an uninformed myopia, and be addicted to fads and other mass entertainment ideas and stuff like that. Now, the next thing that Tomas Schuman mentions is structure. Now, that's structure of a society, of all the societies of the world, and how they work together. There's law and order, social relations, security, internal politics, and foreign matters. Now, how can these things be used? Well, we've been hearing of lawfare, where the judicial system has been used to punish enemies of the Marxist. So there's legislative weapons that are used. These are not high moral standards. These are things that are meant to punish and demoralize so that you go, whatever, I just can't fight against it. I just don't know what to do. Can't trust anybody. Then there are your social relations. These are rights versus obligations. Now, I may have a right to stand in the middle of an intersection, run out in the middle of an intersection, ignoring all the lights and all the traffic, and holler whatever I want to holler. But my obligation is not to do that until it is safe, because otherwise people will hit me. I could get hurt and die. But more importantly is that the people hitting me are going to feel really bad. And they themselves may be, if I'm on the side that does lawfare and they want to punish somebody who isn't on that side, they could use that as something that they want to do. But the result of all of that right there is that there's a distrust of the justice system, so that when it does operate correctly, we don't even recognize it anymore. How does it really work? Well, I'll tell you how it really, really works. If you go to YouTube, there's a little search bar at the top of YouTube once you're on it, and you can see courts, your normal everyday courts that deal with the very first things, crimes as they're committed, people coming in, how that works. There is a process, and they go out of their way to make sure that the rights of everybody to a fair trial are protected. That's how it really operates. If they don't like the result there, they can go to the next court, the next court, the next court. And then they can present their case at each one of these and let them sign off on it. If they don't like it, they can appeal to the next higher court. This is how it works, but that's not what we see in lawfare at all. And that's not what we see when people misuse the rights that they have. Then there's security. There's the intelligence community, where we need to know what we need to know about people who try to destroy us. There's the police and the military. Police, who is the mayor of Chicago right now? That is it Brandon Johnson? You can let me know. I don't want to look it up right this second. Brandon Johnson calls the jail system and the police a sickness in society. A sickness. He wants people to think that somehow magically, if there's no police, that everybody's going to do what's right. That's what he wants people to think. Those who have uninformed myopia, stupid, are going to believe everything they're told, or they're not going to believe anything at all incorrectly. He wants Brandon Johnson wants people to get to the point where they have no one to call on for help. He wants them defenseless so that he can take over. Now, he thinks he's taken over for himself and that somehow he's going to be the big dog. No, he's a tool. He's a tool. He's even worse than that. He's a quacker watcher. At least a tool has a good use. Quacker watchers, they just lay there and do nothing unless they're told. But a tool, you can plug it in if it's electric and it can just go and it can still make things happen. So then we've got the foreign relations by country, by state, by individuals, people we know in other countries. We want them to think that we have their best interest at heart. Trump just made that point on September 23rd, 2025, to his UN speech. At the end, it was such a warm invitation. He said, every country in this room helped build the United States and bring it into the powerhouse that it is. It is the ideas of a wide variety of people from around the world who saw an opportunity and came and wanted to bring their ideas here, ideas that went on to help the entire world. He said, these are the kinds of countries y'all can get back to being. Get back to it. Allow these things to blossom and bloom. Grow where you are planted. Grow where you are planted. And he said that because they're letting weeds run over their countries. And these are these unchecked migration. You know, somebody was just saying that their mother-in-law had gone to Portugal and took the flight over there and was in line. 2 hours they were in line to be able to even get past customs into Portugal because there were plane loads of illegal migrants that did not want to be documented and caused massive disruptions until finally Portugal, in their wisdom, just said, oh, whatever, we don't need to know who you are, go on in. Stupid. They took a short-term solution to a long-term problem. I know there were criminals in there. That wasn't a good message to give them. So ideas of death wish, being kept ignorant, having an uninformed myopia, and being addicted to fads and mass movements and that sort of thing demoralize, as does the weakening of the structure upon which we base our lives, which is law and order, social relations, security, internal politics, and having foreign relations. So there's a mistrust of law and order. And we see that now. We see it. How many of us have said, it's very doubtful that this, that, or the other is going to be taken into, brought into court. Hillary Clinton isn't going to be charged. Well, maybe she will, maybe she won't. But our first go-to response is, ain't going to happen. Okay, so after there's the demoralization of ideas and structure brought about by that, then there are the life things, the things that everybody has, and that is the family, the society, the community in which they live, their health, the race, the population movement. We'll get into those in a minute, and the labor movements. Okay, so family and society, break it up. Women, I don't need a husband. My child does not need a daddy. Bull, bull, bull. Oh, my child told me today that he's a female, or she said I'm a male. So they go and they get hormone treatments. They get transition surgeries well before their bodies have even started to grow properly. If that doesn't break up and demoralize a family, I don't know what does. It's terrible. And as these children become adults, and they've had all the surgeries, and they fell for what was to them was play acting one day, and their mother said, "Oh, this is a real thing," because she had been, what's that? She had been, um, well, some of them are just stupid that way, but some were ignorant and fell for the hype. Now these people are getting into their 20s, and they are coming out of the woodwork. They are furious that their parents did this to them. They are furious that multiple doctors over multiple years have done this to them. It's not good. So when we see families breaking up for all these reasons, now we're not talking about drug abuse, alcoholism, sexual abuse, physical abuse, those things, that to break up a family for those things, good to go. But for these ideological things, it's weakening the family unit, totally weakening it. Now we have health. Look at the CDC. You know, if you're like me, you probably have thought, why is it that in most of the rest of the world, there's not a lot of overweight people? There's some occasionally, but mostly they're pretty normal. There's no obesity, morbid obesity. Um, why is it here in the U.S. everybody thinks we're all just fat pigs? Why do some people can't lose the weight and it keeps putting it on? Well, you know what we're finding out now is, and thank you CDC and Federal Drug FDA, Federal Drug Administration, and the NIH, and the Centers for other things that have to do with health, their government. We see now that they have been playing fast and loose with our health, with the food that we take in. We're told certain things are healthy. We're told certain things don't have a bad effect on us, when in fact they do. But we had no way of knowing it. They said they had done all the research, they vetted the thing, and it was A-OK. And so what are we doing here? We got massive amounts of cancer. We've got massive amounts of heart attacks, cardiovascular issues, mental health issues out the wazoo. Obesity. And even if you're not obese, you can't seem to lose the 20, 30 pounds that you need to lose. And you can't figure out how it got there in the first place. And you're wondering, what can I do? We're finding out now that there has been a concerted effort on the government side and on big pharma and big food, a concerted effort to weaken American citizens. And when they can't sell it all here, they dump it in other countries when it loses its sell by date or use by date. And then these people have issues too. They don't know why. Why? That is evil. It's evil. And then there's race. You see, there's a difference between genetics and environment. I can be a white person, which I am, but I could have grown up in a completely different environment than I did. And I may be a different person because there's nature, DNA, which are genetics, nurture, what's around you, and then there's free will. We all have these things. Nature, which is what we're born with, genetics. Nurture is the people that surround us, how they affect us, how they teach us to act, and then there's free will. Excuse me. So then we have the population. You know, a lot of people live in urban environments. Do you know that there's a lot of children who've lived in large cities their entire life that have never, ever seen a mountain or the sea or a lake or a forest? They don't know what bugs sound like when there's no other noise. I don't know if it's still in play now, but there used to be an organization that would take at-risk uh, young men, early teens, mid-teens, early to mid-teens, who were on a bad track, you know, and they would take them out on hikes, get on a bus, they'd all go out to the mountains somewhere. They had to pack in their own sleeping bag, their own provisions. They had never walked that far in their life. They had never walked that far in their life toting something heavy uphill. They had never slept under the stars. They were used to having buildings all around them, and when they saw there were only trees and sky and rocks, freaked out. Had to be calmed down. And when they tried to go to sleep at night and all the noise of nature came in upon them, they didn't know what the world was. The world is not just buildings and cement. And so after, I think they would keep them out there a week or two, something like that. And being completely out of an urban environment and out of everywhere they were comfortable being into a, oh gosh, what would you call it? A natural environment, being inside nature, and then having to carry your own stuff, plan ahead, look for danger of sorts they didn't know existed. Well, these kids learned a lot. And then of course they would follow up with them when they would get them back to the city because that's where they lived. And the things that they learned, it was like a shock. You know, I used to do substitute teaching in schools. And some of the classes that I dealt with were older. They were anywhere from 8th grade to 10th grade. That was the grade that they were assigned to. Didn't mean they could do any work because they were mentally deficient. Some of them physically, but that was a different thing altogether. Well, there comes a point where you can't get their attention. Their brain has to be shocked into something. So I had to carry around with me at all times whatever it was that made that student's brain go, oh, and listen. And it was a little jar of a scent, and I had to pop it off and wave it under their nose, and they would breathe in and they go, oh, and that would bring them back to what was happening here. You need to sit down and eat your lunch. Okay? Okay? Hello? Yoo-hoo. Pop. Shh. Eat your lunch. Oh, okay. And they would sit and eat their lunch. Going out in the wilderness for these young men did the exact same thing to their intellectual compass, their moral compass, their emotional compass. It helped them to reorient and go, oh, wait. So that when they got back into the city to where they were living, they did not see it in the same light, because now they had more information, you see. Now they were no longer ignorant. Somebody opened up their mind. Well, these things, and then there's, of course, we got our unions. I'm totally against unions. I don't care. Totally against unions. I don't see why I should pay somebody else to work for another entity. If that entity wants to hire me and I want to work for them, I should just be able to do it. I don't want to pay somebody else for negotiating anything on my behalf. I will, if I don't like the job, I'll go. So unions have they promote a victimization mindset. So this life section, they don't want you to be loyal to anything but the state, and we see that. The state will give you money. The state will give you food. The state will give you a place to live. You can't trust anybody else. Bull. It's a big fat lie. Eat what we tell you. We promise it's safe. Bull. I'm going to go back to this black girl magic. There is no black girl magic gene. There isn't. Now, somebody might say, oh, Angela, how dare you say something bad that will demoralize these poor little black girls? Let me tell you something. That's not demoralizing to know the truth about yourself. That is now having accurate information upon which to base future decisions. So I don't want to hear it. All of these results from all of these methods, from all of these areas, now brings us down to the next stage of the game of the Marxist and the New World Order crowd and the demonic people and the nut jobs. And I'm saying that very clearly, nut jobs, because we know there are some of those, is destabilization. They do it with power struggles, destruction of capitalism. They do it with getting mobs to force you to do things because you don't want to deal with them pitching a temper tantrum and then maybe shooting you. They do it by bringing in outside forces to contain you within a set area, whatever that area is, economic, all kinds of different things. The results are of these sorts of things are that you feel helpless. You either give in to Big Brother, as it's often called, or you'll be worse off because they won't let you have a better life. They won't let you live a better way. They won't give you choices between a broader array of choices. They might give you two choices. You can do as I say, or you can die. That's not a choice. They sick the mob on you. Cancel culture. Cancel culture. Just because you think differently, not because it's a choice. So Tomas Schuman, you did a great job putting this list together. It's absolutely great. I think if somebody was to go to a search engine and type in Tomas, Tomas, Schuman, Schuman, you'd probably be able to find the subversion process chart. You might want to type in the subversion process by Tomas Schuman. You might be able to get it really good. It's an excellent thing. I'm going to have to find a place to keep that because I will want to go back to it another time for whatever reason. I do lots of writing and things like that and discussions. Well, I think that's the end of the show for today. Can't think of anything else right this minute other than, oh my gosh, did I tell you? Okay. I had a Pontiac Bonneville, had it for 18 years when somebody destroyed it in a car accident. Yeah, I was driving, but it was somebody else that was the fault of the other driver, and it was total. Her name was Baby Doll. Baby Doll was awesome. I love Baby Doll. That girl was a trooper like you wouldn't believe. Took me all over the place, did what I needed it to do. And then she gave her life for me because I was hardly hurt compared to what I could have been because she was so well built. So bravo, Pontiac, for building such a great car. But she was gone, so I had to buy something else. So I bought a Honda van, a 2006 Honda van. Came in very handy for about 4 years because of some having help with some relatives and things that they need some help with and emergency type situations. But my gosh, now I had this large area in which I could fold down the back seats. There's that third row, and I could just fold them down and have this big flat area. I put all kinds of blankets on it, old blankets to protect the carpet, and it was a trooper too. I could pack that sucker to the gills, put blankets over it, and just head on down the road. Didn't even notice it had a load on it. But my needs have now changed. So in 2025, which is now that I'm doing this, I realized that I needed a pickup truck. And I knew I wanted one with not only a front row, but a second row, not the kind where you have to turn sideways and sit, but where you could sit 2 or 3 people in the back comfortably. Do they call those a crew cab? I don't know. So I found one, bought it used. It was a 2013 GMC Sierra 1500. Gorgeous color. I know I'm a girl that way. I like my colors. Wonderful shape. Second owner, 160,000 miles. People are like, oh, that's a lot of miles. Not if you're taking care of something. No. I bought my Honda when it had 160,000 miles on it. And it's got 210 now, and it's still a charm. Of course, yes, I take care of it. Anything breaks, it's fixed immediately. I keep it up. And so I'm in the process of trying to sell that now. Hopefully by the time you watch this, it will have sold. But this truck, oh man. It's got a bed on the back. That's what pickup trucks do. They have this bed. It's got that Line-X all in it, and it's got this foldable cover that goes back. And when you hold up when you unfold it this way, then you hold up that last section and you close the tailgate and then you drop this down and lock it in. You can take your key and lock the bed, and it puts those two pieces together. So you now have a secure bed. This baby's going to be able to help with all kinds of hauling things to the junkyard, not junkyard, you know, waste management places where you dump stuff, municipal dumps. And so I'm really looking forward to that because I could not do all of that with my vehicle. And in the fall, when I rake up pine straw, I go around in the various neighborhoods and I rake up pine straw off the streets because it's nice and clean. And I'm going to be able now to put all that in the bed of my truck, you see, instead of inside and covering it with blankets and breathing in the mold that got in there. Now I can just put it in the bed of my truck, see. Come bring it back over to where I'm at. Don't get the inside of my vehicle with that musty smell to it or nothing. You know, it's been pretty awesome. But I've also been busy with some other projects too. So I'm sitting here and I'm putting together several things. So as the weeks go on or the days go on, if you see me in the same outfit but it's a different thing, you'll know why. Okay, everybody, it is time for me to go. I'm going to play my outro, and here we go.
She treats you right. She's surprising.